You good, Lincoln?
Hey.
Right, see you in a minute.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
I'm live, but I don't know if anybody's there yet. So, see what happens. Hey, Marcus. I see Marcus joined. There he is. I'm going to be drinking coffee during this broadcast. I make it at home. I decided I was spending so much on coffee that I would figure out how to make it. So I got a Rocket espresso machine and a grinder and all that. And so it's a Verve coffee, and they're out of Santa Cruz, and our local shop sells it. So, Gerald, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm pumped about it. We had a good time writing it and recording it and all that stuff. Wrote it with a couple of our Thrive Worship guys, and it was very fun, and they're amazing. So, and I'm sure you'll hear more about them in the future. Yeah, but thank you. Sweet home studio. Thank you. Yeah, it's fun. I feel blessed. This room actually, this is actually an upstairs room. So below this is a living room. And this used to just be like a tall ceiling. So we put a floor in and made a studio space. So it's been a huge blessing. Okay, I'm going to see if I can read these fast. Okay, well, I think I got it through. Let's see. If you tour, would you come to Michigan? Oh, yes. I would come to Michigan. I've been to Michigan before as well. We usually just do it on, where we get invited to. I've been really focusing on staying home, working on new music. Obviously, I'm a pastor at my church as well, and there's lots of stuff. And more importantly, husband and dad to one soon to be two teenage boys. So that's been huge. But we'll 2018, I think it's possible we may end up out there. So that would be fun. Tell us about the new song and what you've been doing. Yes, well, it's a little bit of what I've been doing. So the new song, let me just see if I've got any of my, hold on, I'm going to open up Pro Tools for you guys. That way I can noodle a little bit if you want. I think one of the main things I've wanted to do for many years was really develop a young group, a new gen of writers and worshipers and all that. And we've seen that happening like crazy with our Thrive Worship, with the school and with our team. And then it's been so fun to write with them. And this was a song that the chorus, one of our guys, Corbin Phillips, brought in the chorus, kind of just that initial phrase, there is no one like our God, and just that much. And I just remember being like so gripped by that and picturing, you guys probably know this if you know anything about me, but just picturing people in church singing that and connecting with that truth and that reality. And so I heard that little piece and was like, we need to finish this. Like, let's do it. So one of our, Corbin and one of our other guys, Taylor Gall, we sat and wrote it and really wanted to write. It was a very lyric-centric song, very simple melody, but we just thought big truths. That was the idea. Things that are game changers, things to really get people connected to. And then obviously the bridge, we just took Romans 8:39 basically, and just sometimes you gotta wordsmith it a little bit clearly without changing the scriptural meaning to it. And so that was the goal, was get lots of God's word into people, lots of his truth. Hey, I'm gonna close my blind real quick. It's a little bright. There we go. This California sun just gets to you. Let's see. Oh, you can see me in the mirror. Hey. Yes. You get the double-sided faux hawk. Is it still summertime here? That's what we call it. It's always a debate out here whether it's fall or summer. I'm hanging on till summer until it gets like too cold to wear shorts. So we're hoping summer till the end of October would be glorious out here. Hey, from Myrtle Beach. Awesome. I'm going to see if my guitar is working. Play a little bit for you guys if you want. Let's see here. Okay, I can't see you guys for just a second. There, I'm back now. Justin from Houston. Justin, are you good in Houston? Man, you guys have been through it. Just crazy. Anyway, our prayers are with you, man. Hope you're good and you're encouraged. And obviously, a lot of rebuilding to do there, but I keep seeing those hashtags Houston Strong. So I know you guys will come back very strong and very well. Oh, good. He says they're safe, so good deal. What's good from Cali? Lots of stuff. Hey, from Florida. Gosh, you guys got hammered too, man. You guys, hopefully you're all right. That was just crazy to watch. And hi from Idaho. I know you guys are good. Please sing Let the Praises Ring Out. But it's been a while. Oh Lord, my God, you are my trust. I think that's Psalm 7, if I remember right. In you, I find my peace. My voice is shot from singing at church over the weekend. We had a ball. And in you, I find my strength. I'm guessing you want me to play the guitar solo for it. Okay, give me 1 second here. I think it's how it goes, something like that. I haven't played it in forever, but when am I coming to India? That's quite a commute, isn't it? I don't know. You know, I've never been like kind of to that side of the world. It sounds terrible, but can you show your pedal board? I actually don't have a pedal board to speak of at the moment. This is a Kemper Profiler I'm playing through right now, which I really like. But I kind of find whatever it is I'm using, I tend to get the sound that I'm looking for through it. So the Kemper's great. The effects are great in it. I've got Helix. I've got HD 500. I still use actually don't use the hardware for the XT Live or X3 Live, but I use the software, which is PodFarm 2. I've got a 1969 100-watt Marshall Plexi, a real one over here, that I use, and just whatever feels inspiring, I guess. Somebody wants to know my live rig, so I'm still using the Pod HD 500. It's programmed to all my patches and stuff like that, so I'm still really I love that unit. Sounds great. I suspect I'll be switching to this Kemper. One of the things for the Kemper that I really like is you can actually change patches with no gaps in the effects, which is really cool. It takes a lot of processing power to do it, but they do it quite well. And then I've actually been able to capture my Plexi Marshall into my Kemper with no cabinet. So if that makes sense. So I've just taken the speaker output and modeled my amp, and then I use a third-party cabinet IR for it, which those are killers. So yeah, been really good. Let's see, keep reading these here. Oh, from Guatemala. Instrumental project with Vinny Colaiuta. When is it going to be released? Can't wait to hear it. Thank you. So that project, Norm Stockton is actually, he just landed in Sacramento and is on his way to my house. So we are spending the whole week working on that, amongst other things. And hopefully we'll have it done soon. That has taken a long time. Thank you guys for your patience. Yeah, so I'm hoping we can get it mostly knocked out over the next 5 days. Pray for us if you think of it. I think you guys are going to dig it. It's super, super fun project, very musical. Obviously with Vinny and Norm playing on it. The guy plays keys touring. Roman V played keys on it, and just guy's like a classically trained piano player from Moscow, Russia, and he's just he's brilliant. So lots of cool stuff on it. Also, David Leonard from All Sons and Daughters did a bunch of the pad textural work on it. It's insane. The sounds that guy comes up with, just bonkers. So yeah, I'll keep working on it. And then I keep promising to tell you guys more about this. I'm waiting to get the okay to like talk about it a bunch, but it is coming, and I'm super pumped. And there will have never been a Fender Strat quite like it released before, so hopefully you guys dig it. When am I coming to the Philippines? Again, would love to come. I don't know. Let's see. Capo up in place, so good. I don't know if I have a capo in here. My wife's sitting right here, but she doesn't want to be on camera. I don't know, honey, do I have a capo in here? She's going to go see in Liam's room, my son's room. My youngest son probably has a capo. What setup did I use for Surrender? That was the Pod XT Live. There was, honestly, there was an amp model inside that box. It was that Variac Plexi with the 412 cab with the 25 watts with the 57. To me, that's like one of the best, if not the best sound they've ever done there. It's just amazing. So that one's a good one. Good egg, for sure. Will I be coming to the UK? Hey, honey. No dice. If I can find a capo, I'd be happy to play So Good for you. If I can even remember how it goes. It's pretty sad I don't have a capo in my studio. coming to the UK. I'd love to come to the UK. In fact, we have a pastor at our church, Andrew McCourt, who is from Northern Ireland. And so I think I'm destined to come to the UK. Brandon from Mississippi, am I in my office? This is my studio. You can kind of, well, in the mirror view, you see if you can see, there's my monitors. This is my computer that I'm on. So it's my studio is just one big room. Yeah, so most of the stuff we do in here, like if we do live drum tracking, when we did the stuff for instrumental, we track the drums down in LA, or we'll go to a room here. So play a 10-minute guitar solo. That's funny. I don't even know if I could sit and play a solo for 10 minutes. New instructional DVD. So that I would assume will be following this instrumental project. Yeah, that would be my goal, is to, take you through the step-by-steps on how to do it. It's got some fun riffs. A lot of them aren't super complex. Some of the stuff is, but got some fun just hybrid picking things. And so let's see here. Oh, looks like there's more comments down here. Let's see. What do you got here? Kemper or Helix? They're different. I'd say try them both, and they both can do some different things from each other. They're both world-class boxes. I sure love the guys at Line 6, so anytime you want to support Line 6, I'm a fan of that. And the Kemper's a beast. It's a great piece. You can do multiple amps at the same time. You can't do that with the Kemper. So Helix, for instance, you could take an AC30 and a Plexi and pan them out and do a lot of interesting routing things, whereas the Kemper's more straightforward. Intro to Give Him Praise. Man, you guys are taking me on the Wayback Machine here. Lots of effects on it. I've been working on the solo still for No One Like Our God, for this new single, and I think I've got it pretty close. What's weird is I tend to I don't know. I hate to say I obsess over the stuff, but I want the solos to be right. I want them to feel good. I want them to be singable and be in a little composition unto themselves, and be a statement, that's fun to play, that adds to the music and all that. So still working on it. They're the guys from Integrity are going to find out how long it'll take once we're done with that version to get it posted, but it is coming. So definitely. Yeah, like somebody's asking about the Today's the Day guitar solo here. So that one's like... So you kind of like... It's got a little composition, where it kind of starts and builds and all that. So again, I want to try to do that for this new one. And I think I've got some cool stuff going. I did put that lick in it that I do, and a lot of things that whole thing. And it's kind of fun. I don't know if it's going to be too much. So somebody's asking what I'm running in my studio. I use Pro Tools. I've got a big fatty iMac and Pro Tools 12, and I'm using a UAD Apollo. I used to have a far bigger Pro Tools system, but I just found I didn't need all of that. I do just a lot of overdubs here, so we're not really tracking full band for the most part. South Carolina, awesome. Don't worry about the capo. Let's see. Is there any patches for download on the? I don't know if there's patches for my HD 500 on the Line 6, and actually the X is the one I'm using. I don't know if they're on there. I think they're on my Facebook page, if I remember right. If they're not, a comment on one of the future posts here, and we'll try to get them up there again. I know that they were. Play some Fusion. Gosh, like my worst thing. I'm so not. Whenever you hear me play Fusion, I'm faking it. Just for the record, I played like some out there kind of licks that are kind of like making it up, that kind of stuff. But I don't really know what I'm doing. I just let my ear and my heart be the guide. And what guitar greats are you listening to these days? I mean, always Jeff Beck. What else have I been listening to? I still like listening to old Van Halen. Those early Eddie days were, I love about his playing too. He's a great solo player, obviously, but I think he's just the best rock rhythm guitar player. Just played such great rhythm, great timing, great feel. I love the new single. Thank you, Justin. Appreciate it, man. New album, I think, is coming out in March. And it's interesting. This is a new thing that's kind of exciting in some ways. So we've released this single, but we don't have the rest of the album done, which is a first for me. So whenever we've released a single before, I've had at least most of it finished. And that's the only song we've got done. We've gotten the album written, just don't have it recorded yet. So we'll be doing that over the next couple months. Again, would appreciate your guys' prayers. What rock songs do you know? All of them. No, I could literally just sit and bust out like any Scorpions, Van Halen, all that stuff back in the day. That's kind of what I grew up on. And then that was one of the cool things about getting to play with Steve Perry, was I also grew up on Journey. So it was kind of surreal the first couple of times I got to play with Steve, and playing Faithfully or Don't Stop Believin' or Send Her My Love. Just like songs I had recalled listening to while I was riding the school bus, and just crazy stuff like that. So that music definitely runs in my veins. And I would love to, by the way, record like a full tilt, like somewhere between 1980, 1983, 84 era album, just drums, bass, guitar, keys, and guitar solos were overdubbed kind of thing. Just, I just want to hear something again. I love a lot of the new music. I really tend to be a fan of like a lot of different things, but I like music with a lower track count in terms of overdubs, and so it'd be fun to kind of do that. What is your single favorite song that I have written? That, I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not saying this to be cheeky, but I really do like this new one. I think this new song, No One Like Our God, what I like about it is how it connects people to God when we do it in a church context. It's been awesome. So, I think, and because it's new, I like the writing process. I like the guys who I wrote it with. I'm really proud of both of them, and they poured their hearts into it. And so, so right now it's love. I love leading it. Love singing. I like the fact that we use the word recompense in it, which is I don't think ever been done in a worship song. Which was in verse 1. It's how's that tune? What is this grace that makes no sense? So what is this grace that makes no sense? We could never recompense. Who gives us all a second chance? I thought that was pretty cool myself. So. Let's see. Keep reading through these here. Green Bay, Wisconsin. Do I miss playing with Steve Perry, and have I kept in touch with him? I do miss it. I was actually just telling my wife that the other day. It was a lot of fun playing. And yes, I do still keep in touch with Steve. And he's a great guy, and I'm overdue. We were supposed to go down to SoCal over the summer to go hang with him, and my son tore his MCL on his skateboard. And so we couldn't go anywhere, but I'm going to try to make a trip down there before too long. Somebody wants me to play Eruption. I got asked that the other day. I don't know what's happening. I'll just do the finger tapping part. How's that? Guitar players, you ever have those moments when your hands just feel horrible? That's today for me. So if you ever wanted to know what it sounds like when I feel like my hands are both broken, it's today. But I'll do my best. Play the What Kind of Man? Oh, you're killing me. I don't know if I could do it right now. I honestly don't remember how to do it. It takes me a while to like sit down and figure it out. We'll try to do one of these in the future where I'll play some of the old solos and all that. I just got to brush up on them a little bit. A killer rock record would be amazing. Awesome. Okay. Well, we'll start working on it. I think it'd be a fun thing. Thoughts on Alan Holdsworth? Obviously, sad to hear of his passing this last year, but yeah, guy was a freak. I mean, just had a crazy understanding. I don't know what it would be like to look at the fretboard and understand every note and how they all fit together. And he was one of those kind of guys, and just amazing. Any new tips for starting a praise and worship band? Yes. First and foremost, do it for the right reasons and make sure that you're connected to a church, that you've got a great covering, that you've got great accountability, that you're asking lots of questions, have teachable spirits. I could go on and on about that kind of stuff, but exist to bless the body of Christ and to bless God. That's the biggest thing. So, do I think anybody should embark on it for any other reason than those things? No, I don't. So, do I have Helix patches available? I do not have them available. I've been so enmeshed in the recording stuff that I haven't actually sorted through all that yet. But when I do, I will post them, I promise. Let's see here. My favorite key to play in? I don't know. One of my favorites, this guitar's got a trim, so I'll show you. But I just find fun is I have lots of these gold guitars, but just straight drop D. There's something cool about this drop D. Something very greasy about having that drop D. Drop D's fun to noodle with. Kind of greasy. Come to Poland. Wow. How's it going? Prescott, Arizona. I think we played there last year, right? There's a really cool theater venue we played there. It was awesome. Had a great time. Marvin, thank you for the songs. Appreciate that. What is your favorite song for church? Gosh, I'm so the worst favorites guy. I'd say of songs that I'm leading right now, when I get to lead There's Power, is just that song seems to have connected in a really cool way. So that I do like doing that one. I'm loving doing the new one, doing No One Like Our God. It's just, we did it over the weekend. It really seems like people connect with that. One of my favorites, kind of just going back a few years is Our God. I just love that. It was one of the most anthemic, cool songs. And I think, I struggle with that a little bit because, and we talk about this a lot as a team, that not getting trapped in the kind of doing everything that's just the newest, hippest, latest, greatest. But I mean, look at how many classic songs we all love as people that we love to go back and listen to. And it's like, yeah, I loved that. But we stopped doing it because it's not the newest, but it doesn't mean the songs are any less great. So, I think, Mighty to Save, I love that song. But even going back further, like somebody mentioned Surrender. I love Surrender. It's just such a cool thing. Open the Eyes of My Heart is one of my faves forever. Somebody mentioned Shout to the Lord, the intro. Need to tune my guitars. And that song was a demo we recorded in a day. Sorry, this thing's way out of tune. Droney type thing. Any plans for another worship collective? Yes. We will be doing one. I think we're going to try to do it in the spring in Napa Valley is the goal. So it should be a blast. Would love to see lots of you folks come out to that. We have such a great time at those things. Just a unique setting to get to hang out, small setting. And, it leaves room. One of the goals was with the worship collectives was, when I do a conference, you do a general session or you speak or whatever, or play, and you'll have, or you're gonna like a guitar. I've done guitar breakouts at conferences with 600-700 people, and we'll do Q&A, but it seems like really people want to ask their question one-on-one after the session. So I noticed these after the session settings where it's just a line of people, they just want to connect with you eye to eye. And so we tried to create a setting where it was basically the after the big session type environment. So that's a lot of what the collectives are about, is just that where you can encourage somebody, get to know them just a little bit. And that's why we don't let those grow large. We try to cap them at about 50 people, and it's been those have been a blast. More people from Philippines saying hi. That's so awesome. Let's see. Well, that's nice. Glad to know you're playing when your hands feel broken. It's still 1,000 times better than me. My hands feel amazing. I quit. That's terrible. Don't quit. Keep it going. I've been doing this for like 200 years, and I still practice. Let's see. Thoughts on using backing tracks for worship? I think it's fine. The goal to me on backing tracks is trying to make music sound complete, sound full, sound appropriate. If you're doing versions, helping them sound accurate. And I think there's definitely a preferential piece to that going, what's important. I like being able to make the music sound like it does on the record. And we certainly use stuff to fill things out live. I have been struggling with it a little bit from a developmental standpoint, going some of the tracks with certainly music that leans a little more EDM, where you're looking at like Young and Free kind of stuff, which I love the music. Are we basically teaching our kids that they don't need to learn how to play? And I feel like with the proliferation of DJing, my oldest son's a DJ, and he'll be like, "Dad, check this out." And sometimes I'll tease him and go, "Boy, it's almost as if all you have to do is hit play." And so I'm trying to encourage him to go learn how to create the things that you're hitting play, like make that, and so that somebody else hits play on the thing you created. And so I think there's a balance to be had. I would like to see us still focus a lot on musicianship. Drummers certainly have to know how to play to a click nowadays, which is good. But Alex is asking if I'm still using DiMarzio pickups. Absolutely. Same pickup setup. If you're familiar with mine, Area 61, Area 58s, neck and middle. And just love those. They just, to me, they sound like quiet vintage Strat pickups. They just really, really good. Let's see. Have I ever met Eddie Van Halen? I have. Yeah. I've been up to his house in the studio, and that was pretty surreal for me. Got to walk into the tracking room where they did 1984, and his Holy Grail amp was sitting there with the cabinet. It was pretty awesome. All of his guitars hanging on the walls. His tech at the time, who's now his manager, became a good friend of mine, so we were hanging out a lot, and I got to go up there while they were recording Balance a little bit, and that was. In fact, there was a time, quick little story, I was playing with Steve Perry. We were rehearsing at a rehearsal studio down there, and Van Halen was at the same rehearsal studio, and I was checking out a Vox wah pedal. They just come out with a wah pedal. And I'm looking down, and I'm kind of playing in our rehearsal room, and I promised this happened. And Laura was actually sitting with me, and I look up, and Eddie's standing 2 feet in front of me, and it was just, that was actually the first time I had actually met him, so it was a total panic, like, "Hi," and he goes, "What kind of amp is that?" And I was actually playing through a Bogner at the time, and I went, "Oh, it's this Bogner." He's like, "Can I check it out?" And he's got his guitar on, and he reaches up and just pulls the plug out of my guitar and plugs it into his and starts playing Eddie Van Halen riffs through the amp I'm using. It was a day for the books, people. I gotta tell you that. It was pretty cool. Will you ever do another live album? Absolutely. I'm not sure when it will be. It may be following this album. We'll see, but definitely. NAMM 27 Night of Worship was epic. Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate that. I had such a great time down there. That was awesome, especially too to be there with the Thrive Worship team. It's just, again, so proud of them. Preference, Hillsong or Elevation? Both. I know so many of those folks personally, and just they're great people, and they have great music, and even it's funny when you say Hillsong or Elevation, I almost go like, what facet? There's music. There's church planting. Hillsong's obviously done a global job, just another level of planting churches and doing great ministry. And but yeah, great stuff coming out of both those camps for sure. Tips on transitioning from acoustic to electric guitar in church. Great question. I think you got to look at your instrumentation. If you have music that needs that rhythm punch, maybe you keep an acoustic and add electric with it. A lot of electric today is very textural. It gets tricky when you try to do strummy stuff on electric. It's not that you can't do it. It's just like piezo pickups and acoustic guitars don't have a lot of dynamic range, and they're kind of self-compressing. So you can strum on an acoustic and it works in a mix. You get a cleaner sound on electric. They have a lot of dynamic range sometimes. It can sound a little bit funky, a little jarring. So you just got to be careful. But let your ear be the guide. If it sounds right, I'd go with that. And if it's sounding like, and ask people too who would be honest with you. Ask them what they think. Let's see. do you think solos are a lost art? Sort of. You know, yeah, kind of. Not for me. You guys probably thought that when you heard the new single, but I heard you, and I'm working on it. So, and you know what was good? That was actually a good wake up for me. I don't know what the deal was, why I didn't hear that ahead of time, but somebody said, it was a very kind post. Somebody said, it's another expression, it's another voice. And they're exactly right. And I've said that, you know, I can't always sing it, so I play it. It's been, you know, playing electric guitar has been a refuge for me since I was a kid. And if you know my story at all, I had a very difficult upbringing in many ways. And me being alone in my room playing guitar was my escape. And so the guitar has been an amazing avenue for expression for me over the years. And I do need to do it more. It is a big part of who I am on a musical front. And so I was glad that you guys reminded me of that, honestly. And you can count on hearing it a lot more on this new project because of your encouragement. So thank you guys. Really, honestly, I mean that. I kind of think also, I thought, since I'm working on the instrumental record at the same time, I've been eyeballs deep in that, and it's got loads of guitar. So I thought, well, maybe I'll just let that be that and this be this. But it kind of made me forget that I merged the two. I lead worship, I sing lead songs, but I also play. And so it's good. Miguel from Peru is saying it's hard to get your sound even if you have an HD 500X or the same gear. Please do a tutorial on the sound. That's definitely something we're going to talk about, even if it's just over this setting here, is how to translate that. And that was actually my plan for doing the next DVD. And I haven't decided if I'm going to do a full DVD or a series of shorter videos to kind of help you understand that. And what I call it is translating your sound. So your sound really exists here first, and then it's gear, and then how to translate it to people. So we'll definitely get to that. That's a longer discussion for sure. Guitar apps on my phone, I don't have a lot. I use Polytune. That's pretty amazing. I gotta say this though, Polytune's amazing what it can do, but is it not the most annoying way to tune a guitar of all time? Just all string. Like, you just have to keep doing that over and over. It's a bit crazy. It's amazing that it can do it though. So, overdrives and distortions am I using? I usually just use what's in the amp, plus maybe like occasionally, like I've got this old. If you haven't seen these, this is a Maxon. It's basically a TS-808 made by Maxon, called an OD-808. It's killer. But it's got that, you do lose low end and a little bit, but it has that nice mid-range boost to it. Those are kind of cool. Somebody's asking on the guitar, no relic, is it nitro poly? So I've got a couple of different ones. This one is nitro, and it's all beat up. And then this one is poly, and you can't really see it on the video, but it actually, the color is quite different. It's more metallic. Let's see if you can see it up close. More metallic and just a beautiful finish. So these new polyurethanes they're doing are thinner and just fantastic. And a lot of amazing guitar companies. I mean, you look at Paul Reed Smith or Tom Anderson, or most companies are using polyurethane finishes, but they just have made them much better over the years. So yeah, we're looking at kind of how to approach that. The body on this one will be polyurethane. The other thing, the difficulty with Aztec Gold specifically is getting them to like the guitar. No, it's in my gig bag. The one I used on the Today is the Day. Let me grab it. So this guitar, again, is nitro, but you can see it's a different color. That's the one I used for the Today's the Day album, but I've modified it since then. So it has a new neck. It has a floating trim. It's bent steel saddles, but a 2-post trim. And I've recorded a bunch of the instrumental project with this, and then also with that prototype as well. So they're different. We made up doing a combination of things on the Signature, maybe a combo of poly and nitro on the neck or something like that. So we're working on it. And yeah. So let's see what else I got in here. Your songs have helped me through addictions and levels of sadness that I can't describe. Thank you so much. Wow. I'm very glad to hear that. It's very encouraging, and I'm glad it's been encouragement to you, Steve. Thank you. Come to Poland. You will show people a real school. That's awesome. Lots of requests to come out places. That's awesome. Neck radius, do I prefer? I like small V-necks on the back for sure. And then compound radius fretboards, 9.5 to 14. So they get a little flatter up top. But I like a little bit of that curve down on the bottom, lower frets. What are some instruments people would be surprised to know you play? I don't know. A mandolin maybe was one of that's what I started on. We did some acoustic. We did an acoustic Christmas 2 concerts. We're going to do a little mini tour this year, and I play some mandolin. I grew up like drums were probably my biggest. That's what I started on in diapers. Still am a closet drummer. Just love drums. I think that's why I connect. So I actually write a lot from drum beats. And then you know what else is one that I've never thought like, hey, I play this, but I've ended up recording a lot with it is bass. I actually played bass on one track on the instrumental album, believe it or not. I did it as a quick little guide track, and Norm was like, we need to keep that. Played bass on several tracks on Today's the Day. I played it on God You Reign, played it on This Love, and I played bass on Power of Your Name. I will give. Yeah, that one. Yep. The boo-doo-doo-doo, kind of the little groove stuff. So I like playing bass. It's fun. Let's see. When do you think a worship director should step away from the role, like taking a sabbatical? Longer conversation, Justin. I think if you're discouraged, that's one conversation. I think sabbaticals, ideally, if you can take a sabbatical when you're not smoked, that's great. Because vacations and sabbaticals, if you go on vacation or take an extended break like a sabbatical and you're wrecked, then you don't really have you basically spend time recovering rather than spend time filling up, if that makes sense. And so hopefully, usually burnout is really more about discouragement than it is anything else. And so I've been busier than I've ever been at times in my life and actually felt really encouraged. And then there's been times when I've not been so busy but been very discouraged. So a lot of times it's not so much about pace as it can be just about something else is driving it. The pace seems like the presenting issue, but it's really about something else and you're not encouraged. So I would try to figure out how to get encouraged. And maybe it's people who you're surrounding yourself with. Like just maybe take inventory of who's in your life and do they speak life to you or are they critical of you, And I think it's important to have balanced voices in your life, but people who are for you. So big deal, by the way. And by the way, if you go on sabbatical discouraged and you don't address any of the things that are causing it, when you come back, you'll be right back in the same boat again. So that's probably more importantly what I'm getting at. Let's see here. Who decorates your pad? Cool stuff. I credit my wife with most of it. She says I did too, but we're both kind of closet designer people. So somebody wants to know when my signature model's coming out. I'm hoping summer. So we'll see. I got to talk to the Fender guys to see what I can say. So I'm hoping summer. Are you Planning Center schedule? We do use Planning Center. Proclaim FM in Toledo is playing your new song like crazy. Awesome. Thank you, Proclaim FM in Toledo. That's awesome. Let's see. Oh, I'm like way behind on these comments. So sorry. After Steve Perry, did you move to Nashville straight away? No. I went back to Modesto. That's where I got my start in ministry. I was there for 2 years, actually. And then we went to go plant a church in Nashville. Vi or Van Halen? Van Halen. This is what I grew up on, man. Eddie was the man. Let's see. What keeps you grounded in the Lord? People around me, my family, my wife, my kids, the people that I work with. It's important, doing stuff like this. If you wanted to, kind of isolate yourself, you can do that. And I've just chosen to not do that. It's a different path, and it's harder sometimes. But I've tried to set my life up in a way where, not if, but when I'm being an idiot, I hear about it. So it helps. I genuinely want to be the best me that I can, and not just for myself, but for people who have to be around me. So Bob Goff was at our church, asked a great question. He said, how's your life going? And then he said, I got a better question. How is your life going for others? And I thought that's a brilliant way to put it, that if you think about what is it like for somebody to be around you, a harder question, but a good one nonetheless. Somebody wants to know what's laying in the doorway. I think it's my guitar neck, or if it's that black strip you're looking at, that's soundproofing. So I like being married, and I want to stay married, so I have to keep it a little quieter in here. You guys are asking, let's see, Miraculum Masterclass, Picking Masterclass. Let's see. I have to learn Miraculum every year, by the way. I always have to go back. I'm not plugged in. Here we go. Okay. Let's see here. I'm doing better this year. I don't know if I could have done that. Some of those riffs in Miraculum, especially the ones at the end, are a bit challenging. So probably the hardest one for me to do is the ending one. And I just have to practice it slow. So it's... You just gotta work that really slow, because when you practice slow and consistent time, you'll develop speed just by default, honestly. So it's hard. I think the thing that actually people struggle with the most on that kind of stuff is not being able to do it. It's patience. So if you can just keep playing. Maybe play with a click or something so that you get... So, then you'll find once you get it more up to speed that it's actually easier to play it faster than it is to play it slower, as you could probably tell. So, let's see. Thoughts on John Mayer? He's a very talented guy and a great songwriter, great guitar player, and I would love to see him come to know Christ. I think he could use some of that. What's parked in the garage? Seriously. MTV Cribs. Can you still folks, I think, tuning in, asking about the guitar rig. We'll do another segment on that and talk about a lot of the gear and things like that. We'll also, I've been recording bits and pieces of, like, recording this new solo for No One Like Our God. I'll give you a little inside scoop once I get that done. Kind of how I'm doing it, how I'm approaching the tone. I am using the Kemper Profiler for that solo. I might have a little bit of it here I can play you. Let me see. Anyway, I think that's a little bit of it there. Could you guys hear that okay? Hopefully you could hear it anyway. So we'll talk about integrating your songs into church life. We usually will, like, just try a song, and if it connects well with the people, I try to read the room and see if it's working. And if it works, we do it again. And usually we do a new song 3 times. And so that's, but I told the church yesterday, they ultimately kind of pick the songs. If they don't work in church, I don't see any reason to do them. Gregory, thank you. He said it's so nice to hear you solo on an album again. I appreciate that. And all you guys, Justin, Jonathan, appreciate it. So we'll try to have that. I'll try to have that done. We've got a little process where I've got to send that out, and then they got to drop it into the song and all that. So it'll take a couple weeks or something like that. But we'll have it available for you guys for sure. And then I'll do a little tutorial. By the way, just a quick question, because I'm curious. Did you guys like that? Like doing that as long as it was? I thought maybe it was a little long, but if you guys say it today that you like the shreddy, I'll leave it in there. But I was going to come back and change it, maybe. So again. let's see what you say. Oh, I think Norm's here. Oh yeah, sounds kind of. It is the same lick as the Today Is the Day, but it's faster. Why did I use a different tuning? Because that song's it's in regular D, and I tuned down to, okay, live we'll play a song a half step flat sometimes. So that'll be no different. Sorry about that. It's a little confusing, isn't it? We were supposed to record that song a half step down. And when Colby came over and we started singing, I remember that day going, this feels a little high for my voice in the chorus. And we had the vocals almost all the way done. And I said, we're doing it a half step down. And he said, no, so that's what happened. So that's how it ended up in that key, is what it is. Let's see. Okay, a little mixed reviews on that one. All right, we'll say, hey, Norm.
Hey.
You're on Facebook Live. Say hi.
Good morning. What's going on, man?
How you doing, buddy?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
You turn it up?
Well, we're just, we are on with new release today, talking about the new single. And,
awesome.
Aaron. Everybody say hi to Aaron back there, too.
Yes.
Aaron's engineer
He's the man.
extraordinaire. So, I've been explaining we're going to be working on the instrumental stuff and that you were coming. See, I tell the truth.
Yes.
We're here to work.
This is the week we button it up, right?
Hopefully we button it up.
Later.
Take care, Aaron. Thanks, bro.
Aaron, thank you.
Appreciate it, man. Talk soon. Have you updated people on the status of the instrumental project?
Yeah.
Have you played them anything?
I played a little snippet the other day.
Of what?
Of Dirt Spider. We have working titles for all the songs. They're not.
This is the Lincoln Brewster version of that spinning little Mac thing when it's processing,
Yeah, that's right.
Buffering.
I'm buffering. He knows me too well.
Well, while you're thinking, let me just put a plug, actually. So for any of you, by the way, hello. Sorry, I'm just sort of waking up.
Hi to Norm, everybody.
But I'm super excited about the project. And for any fans of Lincoln's guitar playing, you're definitely going to be very stoked with this project.
You're talking the instrumental.
The instrumental.
The instrumental one. Okay.
The instrumental one is,
nice.
It's fun when you hear a really gifted player, and you can hear some of their influences. And there's some stuff that it's like, oh yeah, Link's a big fan of Jeff Beck. I am as well, and it's like there's little moments of Jeff Beck, little moments of Eric Johnson, but then I think much of this, it's Link, and it's kind of uniquely what you do,
Yeah.
and it's and the songs are great, and really, really excited for you guys to hear it. So pray for us for productivity this week, please.
Yeah, no kidding. Josh Myers, Norm is the guy Lincoln said to surround yourself with encouragement. Yes. Can you just feel that? It's good stuff. Life-giving. I told Norm on the phone last night I was looking forward to just hanging out for a week, and then we'll happen to make some music along the way. So, hot tub.
Optimally.
Hot tub hang. Yeah. Very important. So, good stuff.
Have you told any jokes or?
Jacob saying, just be you on the new music. Don't let the labels knock you around the solos. And I appreciate that. And they're not. I feel like I'm a part of the best record company out there with Integrity Music. They're just an amazing group of people who are very, very supportive. Matter of fact, you guys might want to just go to their social media and give them some kudos, because when this popped up and I thought maybe I should do a guitar solo version, we can certainly do it. I called my A&R guy, Chico Gonzalez, who's an amazing guy, and they were like, that's awesome, do it. So tons of support. So I actually wouldn't be able to do it without them being saying, yeah, let's make it happen. So they've been incredible. So am I playing at Thrive again? Yes. That's hometown conference. That's our baby. So I'll be there always in some capacity, doing something. I'll probably even play. We'll probably do some instrumental stuff. Maybe you should come up to Thrive.
That'd be awesome. When is it?
Look at that. This is how we make plans right here.
Exactly.
When is it? I don't know. Does that matter? When does that matter? Yeah, but that'd be fun to actually do some stuff at Thrive, do some of the instrumental as well as some of the new worship album. Awesome. Tito from Mexico. Thank you.
This is a green tea latte with an extra scoop of matcha, non-fat, no foam, and 2 pumps of classic.
2 words. High maintenance.
They created a monster. Hey, have you are these people largely like guitar fans as well, or
I don't know. A lot of guitar peeps, a lot of folks from all over.
have you talked about your signature and
Yeah, we did
status?
talk. I'm still trying to figure out how much I can say. You know what I mean? I mean, I think I've said a lot, but there was one point in time early on when I said something about it. This is back a while ago. I said something about it, and a bunch of people started blowing up the Fender dealers. And the Fender dealers started calling Fender, going, where's this guitar? And they called me and said, hey, maybe don't say anything. So
it's going to be cool.
It is going to. Wait till I show you the latest. I can show you guys this. This was prototype number 1 pick guard that just came out of the guitar. I got to take it out and swap it with a different one. We're working on something. That is what we're working on, and it's really cool. It's really cool. So I'm thinking, but I don't think this is saying too much. I'm thinking it's next summer. So I'll find out for sure. Definitely. Let's see. We will be doing a ton of Christmas services again. Yes.
Acoustic Christmas.
We're going to do acoustic Christmas tour. So like somewhere between 6 and 10, I think, of those. Norm will be there. Zorro, drummer extraordinaire of Lenny Kravitz fame, amongst other things, voted modern drummers best
Funkiest
dude.
Great player. It's going to be fun.
He's amazing. It'll be awesome. Talk about my Kemper profile. Let me just see what this is.
There are guitar fans.
There's a lot of guitar fans on here. Let's see. Sorry about just my body being in the way here. And yeah, this one I modified. It's a plexi. It was the first plexi that I found in there, and I modified it. I don't know. It just sounds killer.
Can Christians use the Kemper profiling amp, since there was so obviously like a seance involved in the design of it?
Right. Can I just say the first time I saw a video on that profiling an amp, were we together?
I don't think so. No.
I was like, dude, sold his
It's
soul to the
freakish.
devil. That was just madness. How it sends that alien sound through the speakers and then suddenly captures that amp is pretty wild. I was telling them that I captured my Plexi.
Oh, is that your sound? Really?
I took the Plexi speaker output through that Palmer box just to convert it to line level and just did it, but I captured it with no cabinet, and then I run the output of this and use a third-party cabinet.
Is that like a recent thing?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah. So, sounds great.
Yes, people probably still don't believe you, but I am here to attest to the fact that there are no mic'd cabinets
Yeah, no. there's
on
no mic.
Lincoln Brewster records.
Well, if you guys have watched like any stuff with cabinet IRs now, really being able to tell the difference from listening. There's differences, but you know who's got a great video? Pete Thorne has a great video on cabinet IRs versus real cabinets and all that kind of stuff. It's a great video that gives a lot of A/B comparisons, but it's not really about can you tell the difference. Well, because that's sort of subjective. Maybe there is a difference, and you might like the difference. You might like the IR better, so who knows? But clearly we're in a technology day and age where the sounds are just there. I don't know what the deal was, by the way, with that Variac Plexi through that old cabinet that Line 6 had. That was a unique bird. Like, I didn't feel like a lot of stuff from back in that era. I didn't use anything else. I just used that. And it felt right to me and sounded right. And still does. So, yeah, I think.
Do you still like share all your settings and your?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the Kemper. I got to figure out how to. I think I can get those and just post them. There's another company, by the way, called Top Jimmy. If you have a Kemper, those Top Jimmy profiles, they did like all the Van Halen. They did like Slash. Figure out what amp he rented this amp to do Appetite for Destruction, Sweet Child of Mine, all those, and there was like this. You can read the story on their site, but those profiles are killer. The Van Halen ones are ridiculous.
So, are there as many tweaks that you still have to do? Because back in the day,
No.
Yeah, because back in the day, you probably already know this because you read the album credits. I mean, this guy is not just a serious guitar player, but he's a serious engineer. And you spent a lot of time sort of putting on your engineer hat and tweaking settings, right?
Yeah.
So there's, back in the day, people that were trying to get some of the sounds out of some of the gear, it wasn't quite as easy to do as maybe it was initially appearing because
Right.
you had spent a lot of time tweaking.
Right. You want to hear something funny? Our front of house engineer, Lee Fields, he calls me the other day and he's like, hey, can your Kemper do 2 amps at the same time? And I was like, no. And he goes, oh man, that's lame. And I'm like, what other amp would you ask that of? Would you ever go like, hey, what amp do you use? I use a Vox AC30. Will it do that and a Marshall? Oh no. It's goofy.
That's lame.
I'm right. I'm like, but it does have stereo world-class effects and da-da-da-da-da-da, and it can profile any amp and have it inside of it, but it won't do 2 at the same time. That's lame.
But 2 Kempers will.
Right. Right. How spoiled do we get? Let's see here. Asking if I'll share my Plexi. Yeah, yes, I will. Definitely. I got to figure out how to do it. Oh, Josh Myers. Yes. How's it going? He's at, when you saw me check out the Kemper for the first time, that was like in Kansas City, right? Or just north of there. if I recall, at a very strange event, if I recall. It was the band. What was the band called? It was Bread of Stone. Is that right? St. Joe. Yes, that was it. Yeah, it was the most awkward event ever. That was insanity. Yeah. Sometimes we end up at those things. Andrew's asking, why do I think there isn't much lead guitar kind of shredding in worship music? It's mostly ambient, which is fun too. I agree that it's fun. I don't know. Just a lot of times I think style gets dictated to us, which just kind of is what it is. And having done this as long as I have, when I started, guitar was kind of okay, and then it wasn't, and for a while, and then you can almost draw a line back to when John Mayer got popular, being a guitar guy, and then pop music made it popular again, and then it was more accepted in worship, and kind of went through that era of a few years where guitar was cool, and we saw more people doing it, and then it kind of fell away, and I don't even know where it falls now. There's I kind of like that. I think nowadays it's there's a lot of things out. There's a lot of variety, and you just never know what's going to catch on and kind of work. So I'm not, though, I like doing things that work, and not just digging my heels in and going, this is the haircut I got in 1992 and it's forever awesome. You know what I mean? I think some of those things can be culturally used as tools, but the heart of it, the message is always the same, and the heart of it's always the same. So, but I like exploring new stuff and all that. But
can I chime in?
Yeah, of course.
I don't know if you remember one of my first conversations with you when we started playing together, 2006 or whatever. I was trying to kind of put my finger on why it is that your soloing seems to work in a worship environment to where it kind of expresses something in somebody's heart that is difficult to put in words. Whereas lots of other players, you hear them and it sounds like worship stops for a second while there's a shred. And I think a big part of it is playing appropriate to the context, and your solos, I mean, you can shred, but it's never shredding for the sake of shredding. It's like you're expressing the tune,
Yeah.
And I'm not just, it sounds like I'm blowing warm air, but I actually really believe this. It's like, because you can hear a lot of players who have chops, and you hear them in a worship environment, and it's almost like we take a different journey when they start playing, and then the solo's done, and then we come back and we start worshiping again. And there are many times when all the years that we were on the road where you'd be playing the solo and I'd just be sort of like playing and having my eyes closed and worshiping as you played. And it was like, it was expressing things in my heart. So I think part of what you probably love about Lincoln's playing is that it's an expression. It emotes, and it's not just about the shred. So my encouragement to any of you guitar players out there who are feeling maybe sidelined, it's like, oh, all I can do is this textural stuff or whatever, it's like play for the tune.
Yeah. Express
the heart of the tune, and you're going to be fine.
No, that's good. Well said, and thank you. Appreciate that.
I'm out. No.
Yeah. New release posted on here about the new single. Yeah, if you haven't heard it or checked it out, please do. I'm really stoked with it. And one of the other things, just in terms of like growth and and hard work, and that's when I think one of the reasons that I like the recording of this new single so much is on the vocal front, and that's been. I'm still trying to get better as a guitar player, but I'm still definitely trying to get better as a singer, and that's not been as natural of a journey for me by a mile. I mean, I was already an accomplished guitar player before I ever started singing. I didn't even start singing really until I joined Steve Perry's band, and that was one of those freakish moments where the first day I played with him, I'm standing there, and he looks at me and he goes, "You sing?" And I don't know why, I just went, "Yeah." And he
Sure,
was
why
like,
not?
He was like, "Sweet." And so I just had to just figure it out. And the Journeys and stuff had so many vocals in it and all that. So, but the cool thing was I ended up getting to take vocal lessons from his vocal guy for a year, and didn't know what God's game plan was with that. Of course, see it later, but so it's been a journey. You go back to my, no pun intended, you go back to my first album to now, I think you can see a real progression vocally. So I like just this idea of going, I want to be a lifelong learner. I want to never feel like I've arrived. I want to keep growing and getting better. And I still feel like I've got room to grow as a player, as a songwriter, as a singer. And so I think it's good. Like whenever I do a new project, somebody on here said, I've noticed that Oxygen was a big step up in vocal quality. I appreciate that. I felt like that too. But it comes, it comes from hard work, and it comes from, when you're in the studio, like letting people coach you, challenge you, encourage you, but also beat you up a little bit in the best sense. That it's like, I'll try something and they'll go, not feeling that. My response is, okay, let's try something else. And where you trust the person that you're working with, and that it's a good relationship, good. And again, that goes back to a little bit being surrounded by people who encourage you, who are for you, who, would be straight up with you about anything, an attitude or a bass performance, a guitar performance, a vocal performance, a song. Songs are big too. Like, hey, look at this song. And he's like,
that I spent months crafting.
Yes, your hands are bleeding.
They're like, nah.
Right. Next. This happened one time. I can't even believe I'm saying this. I wrote for a year, voice memo snippets, all that stuff. Sat down with, at the time, who was the songwriting guy for Integrity, sat down in a hotel room when I was out touring and played him all 200 ideas. I swear this happened. And he liked 2 out of 200. And it was just, that's a 1% batting average on songwriting. And I remember just going, gosh,
what a jerk.
No, well, no, I was glad that he was honest, but the 2 that he liked were Today Is the Day and God You Reign. So, he knew what he was talking about, but it was hard to hear. But even though it was hard to hear, I still chose to embrace what he was telling me, and I had to go back to the drawing board and keep writing. And had he not done that, I don't think I would have written the rest of the songs that I wrote for that record. I would have settled with what I had, and which would have been a bummer. That's No Given Praise, No Arms of My Savior, No Power of Your Name. No, just songs that you kind of go, those would have just, I wouldn't have been motivated to write them without having that honest feedback. So sorry, I've been ignoring you guys here.
Can I, while you're looking?
Yeah.
That amen and amen.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Lifelong learner.
Yeah.
Having the I think it's actually a spiritual discipline to be able to take constructive critique. And I saw a tweet recently, and it was like this pastor was saying that if you can't take constructive critique, you are basically giving God only one way for you to learn, and that's through pain.
No, you're exactly right.
And I was like, that's huge. And it's like,
no, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Which is a drag. I mean, I have a little thing I teach in leadership context a lot, which is 4 stages of feedback, like just people, where you're at, kind of, one is closed to feedback. You don't want to hear it. Next is indifferent to feedback, and then next would be open to feedback. Those two look the same because it would be, hey, Norm, have you ever thought about da-da-da-da? Huh, it's a good thought. I'll think about it. Indifferent would be nothing changes. Open to feedback would be you work on it and maybe make some changes. The problem with only landing at open, and open's not a bad place to be. I would say it should be the minimum. The only challenge with it is then you only grow when somebody else decides you need to grow. But if you can get to the next place, which to me is where we all want to go for, is seeking feedback, that's the gold, because then you are constantly on the ask. You are, hey, what do you think of this? Hey, what do you think of that? And again, it all comes down to who are you surrounding yourself with, because you don't want to let anybody speak into that. Like I wouldn't ask any group of people, especially in this context, hey, what do you guys think of this solo? But I could tell you guys are tuned in on the guitar. A lot of you just have really smart comments in here, very encouraging stuff, very balanced thinking about how a solo should work. So I thought, well, I'll ask you guys and get some of that. But I'm always asking questions and what do you think here? What do you think here? And that's not just with guitar. That's not just with singing, songwriting, whatever. It's life. It's parenting. It's being a husband, being a coworker, being a worship leader, being a senior pastor at my church. Like I want to grow. I'm not waking up in the morning going, well, now that I've peaked, I think healthy things grow. And if you are still living, you are still growing, or there's still room potential for growth. And so, but we have to be proactive in that, and be leaning into those people around us, that we love and that we value and who value us. And picking that circle of people is an important task. That's an important thing to do. And those circles can even be different in different areas. Like Ray, our founding pastor, is one of my closest friends. He's like some combination of older brother, best friend, and dad. So it's a little dysfunctional probably, but there are specific things where I would go, he would be the top of the list of people that I would want to talk to and hear from about that. And then there's stuff like when it comes to guitar tone or music production, he wouldn't be somebody that I would seek out. Because usually he would go, do whatever you think, but I'm looking for something different. So those circles again can be a little bit different. Let's see here. Let's see. Can we see your studio sometime? Yes, I'll do a video when I'm not on the computer. We'll do some live stuff. We'll actually probably do it this week while Norm's here.
We'll just pick that display up and start.
I don't think I've got the guns for that. Let's see. Who mixed your single? So kind of two people. Colby Wedgeworth produced and mixed, and then there's another guy who comes in with like a final process that's not mastering. It's actually a multi-track process before mastering, named Sean Moffat, who's a total stud. And so Colby and Sean Moffat did it, and then it was mastered at Sterling Sound. I know that, who are ballers, all those guys, and I don't know who actually did it. So,
What's up, Tim?
Aaron, who's your hairs? Same as yours. Still using Pro Tools? Yes, Pro Tools 12. I've heard you're a recent.
I just opened up my first Pro Tools session, 12 session on my flight up.
Welcome to 2017, my friend.
I just want to go adjust gain levels on regions just because, even if it's not necessary, just because I
Norm
can.
comes up here and sees me using Pro Tools 12, and then he's like,
Oh, dude.
"Oh, clip gain." I'm like, "Dude, clip gain, gold, baby." You have to do all that automation. Let's see. Do I record everything in my home? A lot of stuff I do. It's something that I feel really blessed about this, by the way. It's one of the nice things. And really with the way technology is today, we can, like Norm just got an Apogee 1. Look at this. He treats me like a bed and breakfast. Packages from Sweetwater sent to my house. We're going to do an opening, a box opening.
Oh, the unveiling.
So Norm just got this.
There's backstory. I don't usually have my stuff shipped up here.
Whatever.
I prefer to have others open my packages up and kind of make sure.
By the way, we like Sweetwater. Used Sweetwater for the longest time. One of the main reasons, my wife has, I've been buying from Sweetwater for literally like 25 years. My wife has always loved Sweetwater because you get candy. Hey, honey! Laura! Guess what? Here, come here real quick.
No, that's my candy.
We got a package from Sweetwater.
Candy.
See? She always loves when we get stuff from. So this is Norm's.
We are.
That's actually your candy.
No, I actually don't want it. Here, go for it. Yes, you're live.
So Norm got an Apogee 1. Congratulations, Norm.
Thank you, sir.
And and what does this cost?
This is actually a demo, so it was like $319.
So $320, a laptop, and you can do like Pro Tools 12 monthly for like $25. Is that right?
Something. I got the educator.
Yeah, it's like $25 or something. I think Pro Tools 12, and people are dibsing the candy on here. So Pro Tools 12, $25. If you have a laptop that will run it, which you gotta have something fairly, not like new, but whatever, it's not crazy. So most people can. I'm getting back to, sorry, my really long answer to, do I record in my house? So that's like the Oxygen album, believe it or not, was done on a 15-inch laptop for the most part, and an Apogee Duet, which is the 2-channel version of that, was most of it, to be honest. So it's just, Colby just happens to be a genius engineer, producer, mind, and can just make amazing stuff. So he would make stuff on a laptop. I'm just like, I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you get it to sound like that. It's just amazing. So
you were saying that because I got an HD1 rig at home, like running old version of Pro Tools, and you were saying that a laptop with this is going to probably be better performing, right? Yeah,
it's crazy. Like how much processing you can do. Just the technology is increasing. So it's really cool. We should complete the unboxing Apogee 1. So this is a demo. And if you haven't used any of the Apogee interfaces, they're really cool. I have a duet, and it looks like that. We're doing a live unboxing as new release.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, sorry. There it is. Man, this thing's weighty. This thing's like beastly. It just feels, it's got a little mic clip.
Wow.
Just clip it on a mic stand to hold it. But talk about, I mean, it just feels like stout.
Oh yeah, they were describing it like kind of like a TV remote. It's got that vibe.
That's like a beefy, that's nice.
A really great sounding TV remote.
Yeah, that's cool. So
even.
single channel, and then I'm assuming it has like a little breakout plug or something.
Yeah, it should.
Hey, do you guys want to hear something cool about this new single? Let's see here. Do I run a Mode 2 interface during live shows? Yes. The guys have to tell you what version we're using now. Mode 2 Ultralight Mark III, maybe? Oh, so this has a little breakout, which is pretty cool. I don't know why we're doing a thing for Apogee. We should have sent one to us. This is pretty cool. You plug this in, and then you plug a mic in, and it has the mic pre inside here. And these mic pre's actually sound great.
Awesome.
So boom, bus powered. So in theory, if you just wanted to go extremes for a second, you do everything programmed, which a lot of people do. Even go back to like Steve Perry, or even some of Michael Jackson's tracks where the drums are programmed. So just right. So let's say that same stuff. Like you can get a synclavier plug-in from Arturia now for like $200, and all the sounds off of Thriller, like the Beat It, that goom that's in there. And the synclav used to cost like $250,000 or something like that. So you get on a laptop, have one of these, and
actually, this will even work on an iPad.
Yeah, it's crazy. So you could take that, and I've got one of those. Oh, by the way, the vocal mic for the new single is the Slate VMS, which if you haven't tried that, beastly. That's a Slate VMS using the Sony 800G. The one with slightly less top end, I think, is what we used. Aaron says ultralight Mode 2 hybrid. Thank you, Aaron. So anyway, but the kind of production you could do, for really pretty low dough overall investment.
Absolutely.
Is just,
it's cheaper than ever.
But it's really, the key is knowing how to do it, right? We were talking about, I'm a big motocross fan, and we were talking about, there's been pro motocross guys who have had issues with their team, lost their ride, and went out and bought a bike right off the showroom and went and raced it and competed in the top 10 with a stock bike versus a guy who's riding a bike that costs $50,000, with mods and everything. And I was going, well, it's still the rider. I mean, even, famous experts will go, it's the rider. Probably 85% is the rider. And this stuff's the same way.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, I always go it's the guy who's the weekend warrior goes out and buys a motorcycle. He's got the same ability to twist the throttle, unfortunately, but he doesn't have the skill to handle the bike like the pro guys do. So that people get hurt doing that. But this stuff's similar. It's everybody can learn how to use it or kind of access the same level of quality now. So now it's what do you do with it? And a lot of the same rules apply that always have. Just you can just have software emulations of LA2As, 1176s. Now with a lot of the UAD stuff, their models are just amazing. Really sound great. Same with the guitar stuff. So yeah, I think if you listen again to the new single, that vocal is the Slate BMS with that pre. Oh, and this was pretty cool. We actually used this software. We recorded everything here, right here in my studio for that vocal, and then we didn't do the bridge, and Colby was in Nashville, and we actually have this software set up that makes it like a virtual studio. And I did the bridge vocal, all the bridge vocals and all the ad libs to the very end of the song. Me standing here, and he was in Nashville, real time.
That's freaky.
It was awesome. It was a little tricky to get set up, but once we got it set up, the quality was.
And latency, any sort of.
What it does is it auto compensates for latency, so I don't hear any on my end. He doesn't hear any on his end, but we were FaceTiming, so we would have video, and the latency was on the FaceTime.
Okay.
So, does that make sense?
Yeah.
But it works killer. I mean, it's... let's see who else we got going here. So yeah, that was a fun process. So we'll probably do most of the vocals for this new record that way, just so that they don't have to come out here and I don't have to go out there all the time, which is cool.
You're going to do most of the vocals with them tracking in Nashville?
Yeah.
Really?
Let's sound like here's what we did. We set it up. We did a test to see if it would work. And then I said, so Colby, go and just solo up the one we did here and then the one we did virtual, and tell me if you hear any sound quality difference.
Wow.
Yeah, so if you listen in the song, so the verse, all the way up from verse 1 through chorus 2 is all here. And then when it gets to the bridge, no height, no depth can stand between us. That whole part, all the way to the end of the song, was done virtual. And can't tell. Sounds great. He said initially, hey, it sounds like the ones we did have less low end, but the reason was I'm standing further away from the mic. And engineer tech head thing, if you do get a Slate BMS, the mic acts like the vintage mics, not like the newer solid state